everything about Shedeur Sanders screams he's the quarterback. But if people are going to negative in April, they're going to be negative now because they're going to be like, where is he ranked? Forget that. Look at the interceptions that were off of Jerry Jeudy, off of Judkin's shoulder. Batted balls like Burrow had one yesterday, batted in a pick six. You blaming Burrow for that? No. You're blaming Shedeur for a couple batted balls that were picked off? You shouldn't, okay?
Mel Kiper Jr. just blew up the Cleveland media's whole storyline about Shedeur Sanders, and he's not holding anything back. This isn't some casual disagreement about stats. This is a full-blown expose on lies, spin, and bias. If you've been keeping up with the Browns this season, you know it's been wild. Highs, lows, heartbreaks, and flashes of hope that kept fans hanging on. But behind the scenes, something dark has been brewing. According to Kiper, a few loud voices in the Cleveland media have been pushing the idea that Shedeur Sanders has been a bust, that he's not living up to expectations, that he's the wrong guy for the future. And Kiper, he's calling BS on all of it. He said point blank that these so-called analysts are lying about the rookie quarterback's performance. That's right, he didn't say they were mistaken. He said they were lying. Think about that for a second. One of the most respected evaluators in football just accused local media of straight-up dishonesty. This isn't about differing opinions or stats interpretation, it's about manipulation. Kiper's saying the truth is being twisted, context stripped away, and the kid's progress buried under piles of negativity.
Danger, though. It's in great weather and brutal weather conditions. If you're going to sit there and tell me you weren't impressed with the rookie year...
It's not debate, it's defamation, and he's not letting it slide. So what exactly did Mel Kiper say that's got everyone buzzing? He exposed how Cleveland media's been running a two-faced game, one set of rules for everyone else and another for Shedeur. He called out the hypocrisy so clearly that even fans who weren't paying attention before are now side-eyeing the coverage. Kiper broke, put it down. Yes, Shedeur threw some picks. No one's denying that. Mistakes? Of course, he had a few. But that's what happens when you're a rookie learning at NFL speed. The difference is, other rookie QBs make the same errors and get excuses, growing pains they call it, but when Shedeur does it, suddenly it's a crisis, a concern, a disappointment. Then Kiper dropped the hammer. He asked the one question that none of those Cleveland reporters want to answer. Why are the standards different for Shedeur Sanders? Boom. Silence. Because when the truth hits that hard, the spin doesn't work anymore. Why is it that Cleveland media can drag Shedeur Sanders through the mud for throwing interceptions, but turn around and praise Joe Burrow for doing the exact same thing? The hypocrisy is unreal. They call Burrow elite, resilient, and battle-tested, while calling Shedeur reckless and not ready. It's a joke, and Mel Kiper Jr. wasn't having it for a second. Let's get real for a moment. Joe Burrow is a veteran. He's had years in the league, multiple training camps, endless first-team reps, elite coaches, and a system built entirely around his success. And when he throws picks, the media bends over backward to excuse it: bad O-line, miscommunication, just one of those games. But when Shedeur Sanders, a rookie playing in his first NFL season, makes the same mistake suddenly, he's a bust? Suddenly, the Browns need to move on? Get out of here with that nonsense.
If people are going to negative in April, they're going to be negative now because they're going to be like, where is he ranked? Forget that. Look at the interceptions that were...
Mel Kiper called it exactly what it is, a double standard dressed up as analysis, and he's not afraid to say what everyone else is thinking. This isn't about football, it's about bias. The narrative's being shaped by people who don't want to see Shedeur win, plain and simple. And that's what makes it so infuriating for anyone who actually cares about fairness and truth in sports reporting. Now here's the part that really exposes the entire scam. Shedeur Sanders didn't even get the same starting treatment that most rookies get. Before the season started, he had 0 first-team reps, not one. Kiper said it loud and clear. Let me repeat that, not a single first-team rep. The Browns basically tossed him into the fire and said, let's see what happens. They didn't give him the comfort of an experienced O-line, a consistent receiving core, or even the rhythm that comes from working with starters during camp. He walked into chaos, a desperate franchise, riddled with injuries, unstable coaching, and a fan base tired of heartbreak. And what did he do? He fought through it. He didn't whine, didn't fold, didn't beg for excuses. He stood tall and earned respect. The Browns gave him a trial by fire, and he didn't just survive, he showed he belonged. And that's exactly why Mel Kiper's calling out the hypocrisy, because when a kid with 0 reps holds his own under that kind of pressure, he deserves credit, not condemnation. Shedeur Sanders didn't just show potential, he flashed pure brilliance. He stood tall in that pocket like he'd been there for years, making laser throws that had Browns fans saying, "Wait, this might actually be our guy." He read defenses, kept his composure, and delivered in moments that veterans would have cracked under. Mel Kiper Jr. called it early, and now he's been completely vindicated. Everything we're seeing on the field proves he was right all along. And let's not forget, this man was balling out in brutal Cleveland weather, the kind of late-season storms where the wind cuts through your bones and snow turns the field into a frozen nightmare. Quarterbacks with years of experience were out there looking lost, missing wide-open throws. But Shedeur, he stayed calm, cool, and fired darts. That's poise. That's leadership. And still, the Cleveland media keeps lying through their teeth. They twist every good game into a "but" moment, shifting the goalposts like it's their full-time job.
Not having any training camp, never with the ones, defense, offense, be thrown out there, playing in.
Every time Shedeur does something right, they invent a new way to downplay it. And no one embodies that hypocrisy more than Jason Lloyd. Oh, we got to talk about him because Lloyd's coverage is a masterclass in fake narratives. When Shedeur wasn't even getting one first-team rep during the preseason, where was Jason Lloyd? Silent. Not a word, not a tweet, not a single headline questioning why the Browns weren't preparing their rookie QB properly. No talk about fairness, no accountability for the coaching staff, nothing. Instead, he was busy hyping up Dillon Gabriel like he was the second coming of Brady. Every column, every podcast, Gabriel this, Gabriel that. He couldn't stop singing his praises. Meanwhile, Shedeur's over there grinding in silence, waiting for his shot. And nobody from the media cared to ask, when's this kid going to get a real chance? It's crazy. Then, the moment Dillon Gabriel fell apart, when the hype collapsed and the Browns had to turn to Shedeur, everything flipped. Suddenly, Jason Lloyd had plenty to say. Suddenly, he's writing pieces about how Shedeur's not the long-term answer, about how the Browns need to look elsewhere. Where was that energy before? The man had months to demand fairness, and now he wants to critique results he helped set up? The lack of self-awareness is mind-blowing. Mel Kiper Jr. didn't just call out the lies, he exposed the pattern. This isn't about football anymore, it's about ego, media, politics, and people refusing to admit they were wrong. Lloyd had every chance to stand for journalistic integrity when it mattered, and he didn't. He stayed silent when Shedeur was ignored, then started yelling once the kids started winning. And that right there, that two-faced switch-up, is exactly what Kiper's been putting on blast for the whole football world to see. Let's get one thing straight right here, right now, because someone's got to speak the truth through all this noise and negativity. Shedeur Sanders isn't just the Browns' best option, he's their only real hope right now. And that's not exaggeration, that's reality. Forget the media spin, forget the nitpicking, the facts speak for themselves. This isn't about blind loyalty or ignoring mistakes. It's about recognizing what Shedeur's done with the scraps he's been given. When you actually look at his performances, not the headlines, not the bias, you can see exactly why fans are starting to believe this kid might be the one to finally change everything for Cleveland. Let's talk numbers, because the Cleveland media sure won't. Remember that first matchup against the Raiders? Shedeur went out there and threw his first NFL touchdown, 206 passing yards in his debut. And he didn't do it padding stats in garbage time. No, this was a real game with real stakes. And he delivered. That's poise under pressure. That's a rookie stepping into the fire and saying, I belong here. And don't forget, that win didn't come easy. It was Shedeur's steady hand combined with Myles Garrett's defensive dominance that sealed it. Together, they pulled off something special, a debut victory that should have had the whole city buzzing. But what did Cleveland media do?
I think he can get them lined up. I think he can complete passes, get the ball out quickly, and keep the chains moving and not turn the ball over. And that's what they're looking for.
Did they celebrate the kid for keeping his cool and executing the game plan like a pro? Of course not. They moved the goalposts again. They brushed it off, spun the story, and acted like it didn't count. Shedeur showed everything you want in a quarterback: accuracy, leadership, and the ability to rise when it mattered most. He managed the game, connected with his receivers, and made smart decisions, all while facing pressure from one of the league's toughest defensive fronts. That's not luck. That's talent. That's preparation meeting opportunity. But wait till you hear about the Titans game. That's when Shedeur Sanders really showed what he's made of. When the lights got brighter, when the stakes got higher, he didn't flinch. He took over. That's the kind of performance that separates rookies who fade from rookies who change franchises. And yet, instead of acknowledging that they might be witnessing the rise of something special, the Cleveland media doubled down on their negativity. It's wild. Shedeur Sanders has already shown more promise, confidence, and leadership in a handful of starts than some Browns quarterbacks showed in entire seasons. The fact that anyone's still questioning his spot just proves how deep the bias runs and why it's time for people to stop listening to noise and start looking at results. That Titans game? Oh, that was the one. Shedeur Sanders didn't just play, he took over. He dragged the Browns back into that fight single-handedly. We're talking about a performance that would have made even seasoned veterans stop and stare. 4 touchdowns, 364 passing yards. Let that sink in for a second. 4 touchdowns and 364 yards in a single game from a rookie who didn't even get first-team reps in training camp. That's not normal, that's elite. Those numbers aren't just good for a rookie. Those are the kind of stats Pro Bowl quarterbacks post on their best days. Shedeur was out there playing like a seasoned killer, reading defenses, adjusting protections, and slicing through the Titans like he'd been in the league for years. He stood in the pocket with ice in his veins, pressure collapsing around him, and still delivered absolute dimes. That's the kind of talent you can't coach, the kind of fire that turns potential into greatness. He was fearless out there making big-time throws, keeping his composure, and leading a comeback that felt impossible just minutes before. He didn't fold when the team was down, he elevated. That's leadership, that's QB1 energy. And yet somehow these media haters act like they didn't see it, like the whole thing never happened. Are they even watching the same games as the rest of us? Or are they just too deep into their anti-Shedeur narrative to admit they were wrong? It's insane. The 364 yards weren't empty stats, they were grind yards. Every single one mattered. They kept drives alive, flipped field position, and put the Browns in real position to win. And those 4 touchdowns? Not flukes, not busted coverages, precision throws, perfect reads, smooth execution, total control. That's what great quarterbacking looks like. Mel Kiper Jr. said it best, they're going to keep hating him, no matter what he does. But that hate only proves one thing: Shedeur Sanders is threatening the old narrative, and they don't know how to handle it. And here's where it all comes full circle. Because after that Titans performance, after those 4 touchdowns that shook the league, the narrative should have changed forever. That should have been the moment Cleveland media finally said, "We were wrong about this kid." But nope, instead they doubled down. They twisted the story again, acting like Shedeur's breakout game didn't even happen.
To make his initial NFL start in one of the international games, Jason Lloyd with his thoughts on Dillon Gabriel.
I actually think Dillon is going to be competent. I don't think he's going to be a star. I don't think he's not throwing for 300 yards or anything like that. But I do think he's going to.
The denial is unreal. Mel Kiper Jr. wasn't surprised, though he's been saying from the start that these reporters aren't interested in the truth. They're interested in control. They want to shape the narrative, not follow the facts. And nothing exposes that more than how they reacted after Shedeur proved he could play at an elite level. You'd think those 364 yards and 4 touchdowns would buy a rookie some respect, maybe even a headline or 2 praising his poise. But instead, what did fans get? Articles nitpicking minor mistakes, segments saying he was inconsistent, and analysts trying to credit the defense for an offensive explosion. It's shameless. Kiper pointed out something nobody in Cleveland wanted to admit. Shedeur Sanders didn't just earn his spot, he changed the Browns' identity. Before he took over, this team looked lifeless. After he stepped in, there was energy again, belief again. The locker room shifted. The fans could feel it. The offense had rhythm. swagger, purpose. And that didn't happen by accident. But here's the wildest part. Every time Shedeur wins, the criticism just gets louder. It's like some people need him to fail to protect their pride. They can't stand the idea that a rookie they dismissed could actually be the guy to turn Cleveland around. So instead of acknowledging the facts, they move the goalposts again. He hasn't faced elite defenses. He's benefiting from the scheme. It's just a hot streak. The excuses are endless. Meanwhile, inside that locker room, the players know the truth. They've seen the grind. They've seen Shedeur stay late after practice, run extra reps, talk strategy with the veterans, and take ownership like a leader twice his age. That's why they rally behind him, because he's earned it. Mel Kiper Jr. summed it up perfectly. They can't bury the truth forever. And he's right. Because when the film shows excellence, when the stats back it up, and when the team starts believing no amount of biased reporting can erase what's happening on that field, Shedeur Sanders isn't just surviving anymore, he's arrived. Shedeur Sanders is only scratching the surface. He's going to get even better, and that's the part the Cleveland media just doesn't get. Or maybe they don't want to get. Rookie quarterbacks aren't finished products. They grow, they adapt, they evolve. Every interception, every tough game, every mistake that's part of the process. You don't judge a first-year player like a 10-year vet. You let him learn, and Shedeur's already learning fast. The Cleveland reporters love to harp on his turnovers, but they ignore what comes next. The bounce backs, the adjustments, the quiet improvements week after week. That's how great quarterbacks are built. Every legend in the league took their lumps before becoming unstoppable. And the fact that Shedeur's putting up the kind of numbers he has without the same support or experience says everything about his potential. And let's be real, when someone like Mel Kiper Jr. steps in and publicly calls out the media, that's not small. This man has been doing this for decades. He's seen every type of prospect, every overhyped name, every flameout, and yet he felt the need to speak up for Shedeur Sanders. That's not just commentary, that's validation. It tells you everything about how ridiculous this coverage has been. When a respected analyst risks his reputation to expose the bias, it means the situation's gone way past normal criticism. It's become personal. Kiper knows talent when he sees it, and he's saying loud and clear, Shedeur Sanders deserves respect. So while the Cleveland media keeps running in circles, Shedeur's out there grinding, learning, improving, and proving people wrong, one snap at a time. And trust this, by next season, those same critics will be the ones pretending they believed in him all along. Because the truth always catches up, and Shedeur Sanders' truth is that he's the real deal, the future of the Browns, and the one who's about to make everyone eat their words. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Because this story isn't over, it's just getting started. See you on the next one.